Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Jade, and this is How to App on iOS. And today it's finally here, the album launch, Moonworks by the Delicate Giants. Shall we find out more? I think we should.
The idea of landing people on the moon has been in the imagination long before the technology was anywhere near making it possible. After all, to be on the moon is to step into a mythological landscape.
I think that every journey starts with a first step. The moon was our first step into the universe, into our solar system. It is awesome to think that already 50 years ago, we became extraterrestrials on another planet. The moon has captivated the imagination of humanity since the dawn of civilization.
The moon's importance is very great. It leads to tides, which help life transition from living in the ocean to living on land.
Somebody built something on the moon a long, long time ago, and I don't think it was Earth.
Without the moon, gravitational influences can cause the poles of planets to wander around kind of drunken. The Earth would have been a much more chaotic place for life, especially advanced life, to develop if it wasn't for the moon.
Good morning. Hope you're all doing well. My name is Jade. This is How to App on iOS. And this is finally the album launch, the second album from the Delicate Giants titled Moonworks. And we are lucky enough to have the two band participants of the Delicate Giants, both Russ 8889 and his cousin Gary, who is here in the chat today. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much for joining me today. We will have Russ on a little bit later to talk about the album, so that's going to be really cool. We'll pick his brain about how it was all made and all of that. And trust me, he's wearing a fantastic cardigan today. You're going to love it. So I want to first let you know that today's show is proudly sponsored by DistroKid, and I want to thank DistroKid for all they do for myself and many other people who release music, because if you didn't know already, DistroKid, there we go. You can release your music through DistroKid for as little as $19.99 a year, and you get unlimited songs to upload, unlimited albums and EPs, whatever you like. You can upload unlimited lyrics for your music. You get a Spotify verified checkmark, and you can collect earnings and split royalties with other participants who have DistroKid. And if you use my DistroKid link, which Thomas Christ has so kindly put in the chat there, which is distrokid.com/VIP/JadeStarr, you get 7% off your first year. Now, there are other plans you can use for DistroKid, which include the musician's plan, which is $35.99 a year. You get 2 artists, and a whole bunch more of other things there. If we zoom in, there you go, synced lyrics in Instagram, all these kind of things. Also, there is a label account for $79.99, which is the one I use. Now, I'm actually in Russ's account here. I'm logged into Russ's account. I know I hacked Russ, and I've got his account, so you can see he's actually signed up to the musician's plan here. So he's planning on using 2 artist names. That is why he has that. Where I have the label plan, and I can have up to 5 artists. I have a few more than that. But those are the plans. They are our sponsors, DistroKid. Love, love, love DistroKid. And we'll talk a little bit more about them after you hear the album, yeah? So be prepared for a little bit more info on DistroKid a bit later. Okie dokie, let's get back over here. So I want to tell you all a little bit about this album from my experience, yeah? And I do want to apologize to everybody if I sound like crap today. I am still getting over COVID. I've been put on some experimental medication as of yesterday as well, which is pretty interesting. So yeah, if I sound like crap, I do apologize. I'm getting over COVID. All right, so Moonworks, the second album by the Delicate Giants. So I was lucky enough to help produce, I guess master, the first Delicate Giants album along with Russ and his cousin Gary. And it was a pleasure to master that album, go through the entire process. And this album has been exactly the same, a real pleasure to be a part of. But it hasn't been without its ups and downs, because I just want to talk about this before we jump in. I hope you'll give me the opportunity to tell you a little bit about why I think this album is amazing, firstly, and why I love Russ 8889 so much. This album's a little bit different, and not so much, I don't think, in music as what Russ thinks, but the challenges that Russ faced putting together this album were completely different than the last time. Not only were we still dealing with the inconvenience, the plague that's been going on around the world, but Russ has had to deal with a lot of personal stuff over the last 6 months of producing this album, with his beautiful partner Liz dealing with cancer at the moment. I know you're here, Liz. I love you lots. Hope you're getting well. Russ had to travel, didn't have to, desperately needed to travel from the UK to the US during the creation of this album to be with Liz, because it's a long distance relationship. He's in the UK, she's in the US, and they spent time together while he was putting together this album, both dealing with COVID as well. They both got COVID. She's dealing with cancer treatment, and all the while Russ has suffered a stroke and living paralyzed, and still managed to create this amazing album and this amazing movie that you're about to see, which is utterly just beyond awesome. So my hat goes off to Russ for doing this. Plus, I can't forget his cousin Gary, who right now is dealing with COVID also, sitting at home. So I hope you're feeling better. We're all sick, everybody. But so the way Russ puts together this music is he does it all on his iPad, and he sends the music off to his cousin, who lays down guitar and then sends it back to Russ. And this was all done across countries. His cousin back in the UK and Russ over in the US, and all this trauma and drama going on. And somehow, through all of this immeasurable just shit being thrown at him, he has created just an outstanding album. And I'm sure you're going to agree. So, Russ's cousin's here in the chat. His nickname is It's It. Is that, I can't remember how do you say it. It's in the chat. I will say hello to you all after we play this. There'll be no comments on the screen today while we're playing the album. I want everybody to chill, listen to it. I will be sitting back and watching and listening as well. If I scroll up, I always forget what Gary's nickname is on here. He'll write something in the chat for me and help me out there. But he's here in the chat. Okay. So now I just want to tell you a little bit about this recording. Is it really? Is it real? Is it really? That's his name there. Right. So now the album is dropping directly after this show. Okay, I need to tell you that. It will be exclusively available on Bandcamp only for a period of time. Then the full album drops next week on streaming services, on all the streaming services, through DistroKid. And Now there is a difference. Now the actual album, when it's released, when you're able to buy it today, it is 13 songs. But what you're hearing today is a special, advanced screening edition. It's like the extended dance mix. It contains 22 tracks. It is an absolute masterpiece. So, without further ado, I'm just going to load up my YouTube here. Make sure it's all loaded in for myself with my history. So 6 months in the making of the music. And then all of the video clips you're about, all of the entire movie that was put together by Russ using LumaFusion. An incredible feat. Did it have its ups and downs? You're going to hear about that afterwards when we have Russ on the show. So let me just load it up here and make sure we're all good. We are sweet. Okay, so kick back. Make sure you've got some beverages. You're all relaxed because it goes for about an hour and a half. It is a movie. This is a movie. And if you thought man walking on the moon was an incredible feat, wait till you see this, because this makes walking on the moon seem like a day trip. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, this is the premiere, the world premiere of the Delicate Giants' second album, Moonworks. I hope you all enjoy, and I'll see you on the other end, yeah? Let's do it.
In 1961, President Kennedy boldly declared before a joint session of Congress that the United States would send a man to the moon and return him safely to the Earth within a decade.
The moon, an 81 million billion ton lump of rock and dust, more than 2,100 miles in diameter, orbiting almost 250,000 miles above our heads. It is the second brightest object in our skies, with temperatures ranging from 250 degrees down to minus 380 degrees and lower. Its gravity is a sixth of that of Earth. Mountains soar to 16,000 feet, and millions of craters litter the dust-dry surface, where no liquid water has ever been found. This is not a hospitable place.
Apollo 11, this is the launch operations manager. The launch team wishes you good luck and Godspeed.
Do you ever look into space? Do you ever look we are the only ones? We are the only ones. 2 minutes.
Do you believe in aliens?
Hell yeah, man, I saw those guys.
Would you like to meet an alien?
Do you believe aliens exist?
Maybe. I do believe in aliens. I believe that in this vast universe there must be another planet that can support life.
Do you believe aliens exist?
I like to think that there's others.
Do you believe that aliens exist?
Have you seen men go to the moon in your lifetime?
Do you think they wait to
Walking on the moon?
Do you think we went to the moon?
Have you seen men go to the moon?
But I remember that our TV like had stereo, turntable, it's like a piece of furniture, man. Anyway, so we came home, and maybe 7, 8 o'clock at night, we had been out somewhere, coming home. Turned it on. These guys were up all there getting ready to land.
Do you think we should return to the moon?
Maybe.
I like to think that there's other beings alive in the universe and that we're not the only ones. Because if human beings are the only sentient beings in the entire galaxy, we've really fucked everything up.
I'll look up at the stars.
If you had the choice to go into space and never come back, would you?
I'm captivated by the vastness of space.
Do you think we should return to the moon?
If you had the choice to go into space and never come back, would you?
10, 9, ignition sequence starts.
Engine arm off. 413 is in. Can't take too much for the visibility right here without the visor up. Pretty dark, looks like surface of a rounded rock. Evidently these rocks very powdery surface. So I guess we're setting up. And this one, I say that the rocks are rather slippery. There's a slight tendency, I think, now to backwards. Due to the soft, very soft texture. Everything is all rock, big rock. When it's on there, fill up all the very little fine forests, so tend to slide over it rather easily.
Do you believe that aliens exist? I believe people act like aliens. I believe if aliens did exist and became known to us, perhaps we would be able to get along because as human beings, we love to come together to kill, crush and destroy things. So if there was an outside threat like aliens, maybe, just maybe, we would come together for once as a species and back each other. But only for the reason to kill something else. Think that we went to the moon? Well, of course we did. If you look through a telescope at the moon, you can clearly see the flag embedded in the moon. I mean, why would our governments lie to us? It's not like they get caught lying all the time.
How often do you look at the stars, and for how long? I look at the stars as often as I can, for as long as I can. Where I live is really dark, there's not much light pollution, so sometimes it looks like the stars are stacked on top of each other, and you can use your hand and swipe them away. And they light the sky up just as bright as a full moon, even on a night where there's no moon.
These facilities are equally spaced, 120 degrees apart on Earth. Each complex has a 70-meter antenna, as well as two smaller, high-efficiency antennas. Satellites close to Earth typically use low-gain antennas, which spread their signals in every direction, making it relatively easy to pick them up here on Earth. Satellites in deep space use high-gain, which focus their radio waves to achieve a much stronger signal once it reaches Earth. The demands placed on deep space communication systems are continuously increasing.
If you had the choice to go into space and never come back, would you? I wouldn't want to go into space knowing I could never come back. I would miss my family so much. I would be so lonely. And I would be so sad knowing that I would never see them again. Do you think we should return to the moon? I think we should return to the moon and try and find things like the footprints possibly left in the lunar dust from the astronauts who travelled all those years ago. I think we should try and find all the things that were left behind. Maybe we could bring some back to the planet Earth for everyone to look at and enjoy.
Would you like to meet an alien? And in answer to that question, I would say maybe. Maybe I'd like to meet an alien if the alien is a nice alien. We don't know, because of course aliens are things we don't know about. And we presume, or we hope, that aliens would be kind to us, but we don't know that for a fact. The aliens, there could be mean aliens, there could be bad aliens. There's no guarantee that aliens are going to be good. There could be aliens and they could be very bad, and they could want to do bad things to us and want to harm us or destroy us. So we definitely don't want to meet those kind of aliens. But if they're nice aliens that aren't going to do terrible things to us, or they're not going to use some kind of mind control ray on our minds, or they're not going to stick probes in our bodies, as aliens have been, at least allegorically known to do. As long as they're not going to do that, I think that would be fine.
Do you think we should return to the moon? When mankind first visited the moon, it was a race, a competition between superpowers. I believe that we should return to the moon, but the superpowers should join forces. It should be a collaborative effort to show what we can achieve when we join together, rather than competing with each other. How often do you look at the stars, and for how long? Usually, I look at the stars for as long as it takes to smoke a cigarette. But sometimes, in times when I have a difficult decision to make, or I really don't know what to do next, then late at night, I'll look up at the stars and just think, and it seems to kind of be relaxing in some way, kind of centers me, kind of makes me feel like we're really not that big and not that important, so what does it all matter anyway? I find it relaxing, and it helps somehow, and at times I've probably done that for lengthy periods of time, but it's one of those situations where time seems to just stand still, I suppose. Doesn't seem important anymore.
Why do you think we have never set up a base on the moon? Well, there's not much up there on the moon. And I think as far as natural resources, you'd have to bring everything with you. And Actually, if you started having some kind of a colony up on the moon, I'm afraid it would just turn into the way it is here. The people in charge of it and the people who are like slave labor to, dig up all the minerals or whatever to get it done. The people who own that mechanism aren't going to get out there and do that work, man.
Tell me one interesting fact about the moon. At about 1/4 of the diameter of the Earth, the moon is the largest natural satellite in the solar system relative to the size of a major planet. It is the 5th largest satellite in the solar system overall, and larger than any known dwarf planet. Do you believe aliens exist? There are 100,000 million stars in the Milky Way alone, and there are millions of other galaxies. Even if with a fraction of a percentage of the probability that a star could host a planet with life, then that would mean there will be a number of different opportunities for life forms to exist. However, the universe is immensely vast, and the chances of those life forms meeting are minimal.
Wow. Holy moly. What an amazing premiere from Russ and Gary from the Delicate Giants. Hello, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that stunning album. So it will be available very shortly on Bandcamp. Hopefully he's remembered to pull the trigger on it. I'm just going to refresh and see. I don't know if he has or not. No, it's still not available yet. Now, what I need to do is bring Russ into the picture. And remember, folks, today this episode has been brought to you by the amazing DistroKid, and we'll talk more about them in a moment. But let me just try and bring Russ into the show now. Look, and I just want to say, before I get him in here, let me just copy this, see if I can get him in. I'm so honored to have been a part of it all the way through, and being able to firstly facilitate this, and so, you know, I'm very lucky to be able to have premiered this on my channel. So, you know, I'm ever so grateful for that. But also the journey of mastering this and hearing the tracks and helping along the way with the video and all that kind of stuff. For those of you who are Patreons of mine, you would have heard this album along the 6 months as Russ sent in tracks each week, and we mastered it on the Patreon, because that's what we do on my Patreon. Master tracks each week and do some giveaways and stuff. So let me see if I can bring Russ in. I need to go to this screen here. Look, there's all your chats. And I need to bring him in. Now, the quality may not be so good today, just because of a few things, but let's see how we go. Of his video, we'll see what happens. It may drop in and out, but we'll... Okay, let's see if we can add him in. And add some sound here. Well, there he is. What do you know?
What are you doing, Jade?
Hello, Russ.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
How do you feel after that? Are you relieved?
Yeah, I'm with the next project now.
The next project. Sure. Oops, we've got a bit. I think we had a bit of reverb there. That should be better. So, no, come on. You're not thinking about already doing the next project.
I've already started working on the next project.
You're a maniac.
Well, I mean, okay, so people got to realise I've got time on my hands.
Or hand.
Or hand, at least. So, like, I'm lucky in the respect of my cousin Gary is super talented. Like,
yeah.
he made so much of this album that it was fantastic. So, like, all the kudos for him as well, you know? So, this, like, I'm lucky with the fact that he is so talented that when we do stuff, I can send him something and he can deliver it back to me within such a short period of time. I know he's suffering from COVID at the moment. So, you know, I know it's a little bit tricky for him at the moment in time, but, you know, it's something, like I said before on the last album, like, he's had his musical journey, like playing in bands and doing that stuff. And like, I've had my musical journey, like working in house and techno, and like, it was never really a good time for us to get together and do stuff. But until last year, we finally, I think last year I finally felt I was actually good enough to actually offer him something to say, oh, could you play on this? Because before that, I wouldn't have said so. So I'm lucky that he's got time on his hands as well also, and that we can do these projects together. So that's a really good thing for us both.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, and you know, I think sometimes people they forget. Well, Gary is such an integral part of this act because, you know, you are constantly in these groups. We see you every day in everybody's chat. And, you know, but Gary is such an amazing guitarist, and he makes up such an important part of each song. Those guitar parts are so incredible. And what's really incredible about it is the way you two work together. It's a unique way because you send stuff to him, and you know, and a lot of people would probably get frustrated with the way you do it. But so the way you make music is, you know, when we all of us who use iOS, you have to think outside the box. And we do that all the time, and you do that a lot because, you know, you use Nano Studio, and we've heard it forever. Nano Studio, you can't record audio in. And each time you release something, with, you know, adding somebody's guitar parts into Nano Studio, you smash it.
Yeah, I think every app has its limitations. Okay, so for me, GarageBand is good, but I don't like the way that it throws the end result out. Like Cubase's would be brilliant, but I can't use the MIDI control on it. So Nano Studio for me gives me that control. I can control the MIDI easily in it. And yes, is it a pain to throw the guitars on and stuff? Yes, it absolutely is. But like, that's part of the challenge, isn't it? If everything was so easy, why would you do it? You know, like, you've got to find not excuses not to do it. You've got to find the ways around how to do it, and, you know, using the different apps, using like the tools. Like, I use a limited amount of tools to make the music that we do. Like my cousin and me, we send the songs via like really low quality text messages. You know, it's not even like a WAV file in, you know, in a good quality, or, you know, what you perceive as being a good quality to your ears. Like, everything you've heard was in an MP4. You know what I mean? It's not in super high quality, it's super low quality. And because the digital medium is so good now, it doesn't really matter. Like, we're, you know, like, at the end of the day, 90% of us listen to it through our iPads or through, you know, something. Not, we've gone away from the days of having big hi-fis and big speakers, and, you know, everything's compacted now. So, you know, that, if we was working on a major record label, would it make a difference? Yeah, maybe it would. But for what we're doing, you know, for the people like us and in the community that are all making music, it's good enough, you know. So, you know, again, it's, you know, my cousin's got the talent. Like, he can play keys, he can do the guitars, so it helped unload a lot of me on this album because of the actual time all the tracks were written was in a very short amount of time.
Yeah,
you know, the whole process was long, but the actual, like, the creative, I don't know, like, I was going to say spirit, but it's not, but the creative spark is, you know, like, when it's flowing, it's flowing. You know, everybody, I think, who does music gets that point where the taps turn off and then the taps are on full, and you just got to get it out of yourself.
And this was written across multiple countries. I mean, this was put together in the UK, then you flew to the US and was putting together video there, music over there in the US, not only dealing with the creative spark that you need to make all this, but, you know, you're in the US, you and Liz both got COVID, and you're sitting there with your partner she's going through chemotherapy, man. All this stuff that was happening around the creation of this album, man, it's just mind blowing that for this to all come out through all of that. It really is incredible.
I think some of that is okay. So obviously, Liz, my wife, it was great for the fact that she didn't moan at me for doing this stuff, because we actually had to isolate for 10 days while I was there. So like, I sat in my little room with my headphones on, like I couldn't sleep very well. We was just knocking out music. I was just there doing stuff, going, playing us some stuff. Oh, what do you think of this? I went and before I even got to see my wife, I went and stayed with my stepdaughter and stayed there for 4 or 5 days because I didn't want to take COVID into the house.
Yeah.
And, got my grandson to do like questions and answers. So I got him to do a little bit of stuff for me. So I'd already sort of started writing stuff once I got to America. So that was in December. And then, my cousin was doing stuff and throwing me stuff, and I was throwing him stuff back. I think by the end of, between December and January, we'd probably done 28 tracks, to be honest. I mean, first of all, we cut the 28 down to the 22 you heard tonight, and then we had to cut the 22 down to 13 tracks for the actual album. So, like, it was difficult to do because I finally, when I was actually flying home from the States, I actually had like the complete album to listen to, or at least all the tracks. And like, I flew from Buffalo to New York, which is a couple of hours flight, and I listened to all the tracks, and I was like, Christ, I don't know, what tracks do I not put on there, So that was a difficult decision. And, depending on the kind of response we get back, I may release like a follow-up EP of all the tracks that aren't included on the album, if people going, oh, I can't believe you didn't put that on there. And I'll probably put that on Bandcamp, for, you can pick it up for free, pay what you like. There's no, to add on to the existing album. And if I put it on, through DistroKid and get it uploaded to all the services, I'll do it for, like £2 or something cheap, just because you have to charge something on there. But, it was a very tricky thing. The whole point of this album tonight was to have a good evening, like the work was for everyone to have a good evening tonight, and, to put it out on your channel, make it a bit exclusive. And if people want to listen to it, they can come back and listen to the rerun on here. If there's the outcry that they want the quality and want to have it, on their phones and on their stuff, then maybe I'll do something about that. But I haven't planned to do that at the moment.
I hope you release the extended version as well, because I think having both would be awesome. You mentioned DistroKid. We're going to talk about them now for a second. Not for a second, just for a little bit longer, because they have sponsored the show, and we love DistroKid, and Russ has used DistroKid to release this album. I release all my music using DistroKid, and you can also release your music for as little as $19.99 a year. And if you use my code that is sitting up the top there, distrokid.com/VIP/Jade, so you get 7% off your first year. I love the Beatles t-shirt. Did you just do a costume change? You did, didn't you? You did a costume change. You're unbelievable. So, DistroKid, they're an amazing service. I want to jump in while we're here because I have the keys. Can you believe this? I have the keys to Russ's account here. Look at this. I have complete control of Russ's account because I upload it for Russ. So here is the new album, and you can see here in Russ's DistroKid, he's got Earthworks, which was the previous album. And you can see a whole bunch of stores do not have the albums where the new Moonworks is across all these stores where Earthworks doesn't. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in here to Earthworks, and I'm going to make sure all these additional stores get this. So over here, you can actually go to add more stores because they're always adding stores. So let's go to add more stores. And what have we got? We've got Jukes, and let's add these. So I'm going to add these, and this is free to do. So I'm just going to hit add, and within a very short amount of time, those will get sent to these stores. So now if we go back to Russ's music, you can see those have been added. We can go over here to his single as well, In the Air Tonight. We can hit add more stores. Look, there's a whole bunch. We've got Snapchat. This, was it QBuzz? Snapchat. Yes, you own the publishing rights. There we go. And add. So now those are all added. We'll do the other one as well. Let's make sure. I'm doing Russ's admin work for him here. See, I never stop working for Russ. Let's add all these as well. So you can do this. So make sure if you are releasing music through DistroKid, you are going back and checking out that all your music is going to all of these stores because it is important to do so. The last thing I want to show you with DistroKid before we move on is, and this is really handy, it's something that I used just recently myself because I released a new utensils album on my DistroKid and I couldn't find the masters on my computer. I've lost them in the ether. They're somewhere. I've put them in some folder and I couldn't be bothered searching because I remembered if you head over here to goodies in your account and protect your music and go to your vault, you can find all of the masters of your music that you release. And at any time you can click on these and just download the entire album, which is really, really awesome. So you can just, so In the Air Tonight, I can click on this and there's your master. You can click on it and you can download it straight to your computer if you lose your masters. Another really handy thing to have with DistroKid to save your butt when you need to. Because I needed these to upload to Bandcamp because I forgot. So thanks. There we go. So there's a few little things you can do with DistroKid. I want to thank again DistroKid for sponsoring today's show. Without them, I wouldn't be able to release music, and I'm sure a lot of you wouldn't. And if you haven't released music yet, what the hell are you doing? $20 a year, and you too can have your music out there. Thanks, DistroKid. I want to ask you, Russ, we talked about this when you started recording this album. You said that this album was going to be very, very different from the last album. And in my opinion, I don't like, all right, this is hard to say. It's different, but it still sounds like the Delicate Giants to me. It's come out and I was expecting something completely like a complete U-turn. When I say something's going to be different personally, it normally is really off the charts. Good to see you getting some pussy, Russ. It's about time. So what was the plan with this album? You wanted to be a little bit different than the last one. What was the plan, the thinking behind it?
When we first I just sort of wanted to make a space theme out of it. So the last album is, there's more sort of drums and there's more bass guitars and stuff. So I think tonight there was like the proof of there was hardly any, I think there's 2 or 3 maybe sprinklings of drums through the tracks tonight. None of them real drums. They're all electronic drums. So for me, that was different because it's difficult, and I found it quite difficult in the past to actually write tracks without drums, because that's how I normally start a track. I normally start a track with my drums. So to do a track without drums, first and foremost, is a bit different. So I felt that was taking the Delicate Giant stuff in a bit of a different direction. And adding to drums, I can announce, like, I don't think even you know, Jade. So now the Delicate Giants are 3 because we've added Dean Thomas to the lineup now. So for the next album will be different again because we've now got an actual drummer involved with us.
Wow.
So again, the next step will be different again. Like for us, it's a kind of logical process to move the Delicate Giants forward. I could stop and go back and do the stuff that we've done before, and you know, the kind of Floydonian sort of style that a lot of people like is fantastic, but it's almost like, okay, we've ticked that box. It's good to always move forward and not get stuck doing one thing musically. I mean, in my own music, like under my Russ 88, 89 stuff, I do like all different styles, all different types of music. And I'm not saying we're going to keep jumping, but like for us to progress forward, it needs to be different. So it needs a different sound. And, you know, we've brought in another talented musician who can still add more than just drums to tracks, you know, like Dean Thomas, if you haven't checked his stuff out, does his own stuff in his own right. So, you know, I'm kind of really grateful for him to join up with us, you know, like it wasn't something that I'd really planned to do. It kind of just happened. It seemed right to do with the sort of stuff we're doing now and the sort of tracks, just to advance them on a little bit. On the first album, I used some drummers from Fiverr to use real drums. And for me, it's just like a way to move the music forward. It, like, rather than just like staying in the comfort zone, it gives us opportunity to expand and try more things.
Well, that's really exciting. I don't know how you kept that a secret from us on Clubhouse, because we're always all there together every day. Awesome, Dean. If Dean is still here, that is sick, because Dean is a killer drummer. And wow, you know, we've been making jokes about where the next album's going to go. I mean, we've had Earthworks, we've had Moonworks. What is it? Hellworks next. Where are we going? It's going to be super interesting to see where it goes next. I want to talk about, Russ, the what you used to make this album, some of the apps that you used to do this. Hello, Dean is still here.
Okay, so there was a lot of the cool wave, whatever, I can't, is it Wave State or Cool Guy Wave Station? There was a lot of that app used because, again, if you know me, like apps that sit around gathering dust up, I like to get them brushed off and get them used doing different stuff. So it was a good chance to use some older apps, because all the like we're all guilty of, and I'm included in this, wanting the next stuff. You know, I'm always, oh yeah, great, grab the next app. But you know, it's hard to forget that there's been some great apps before, you know, and, you know, I've said before, I always look at synthesizers. Like if I loaded up my iPad, you know, it's probably got 60 synthesizers on there, you know, synth apps. And like, it's like, oh, how can you use all them at one time? The thing for me is picking out the apps, using the apps, going back to apps. And by using older apps, as long as they're used wisely with the newer apps, you get different sounds, and they're kind of sounds that people overlook and forget about. So there's, because Coolga made these apps, they're good quality apps, but because they're 5-6 years old, nobody wants to use them. They want to use the latest app. So, that's kind of a weapon in the arsenal that I use, and also layering the apps. You've got to layer different sets of strings, and I've said this before, it's part of making new sounds out of the old sounds. It's from going from programming sounds heavily, like I used to do, to using box standard, straight out of the box sounds that are in apps, but using them stacked with other sounds. Use a set of strings from iSymphonic for a great string sound, but then layer it with the Korg, and then layer it with, I don't know, like Magellan or something. So you've got to, by doing that, you get a totally unique sound all the time, and that's what I try and do. I try not to use the same sound twice ever in my music. For sure, I will use like familiar bass sounds and sounds I really like, but my cousin's inventive with his sounds as well, so that adds to the palette. So we've got there's a big wide choice of sounds that we can pull from.
Absolutely. You know my take on this. I say it every day on this show. Apps aren't Pokemon. You don't need them all. Go back, look at the ones that you already have, that you've already bought, and have you'll find something special in there. Hey, thank you so much. I just want to say thank you, Dr. Zordis, for the super chat. That's really kind of you. Oh, wow. Thank you, Dave Fox, also for the super chat. It's very kind. You guys rock. Thanks for being here, everybody. Really appreciate you all being here today.
Yeah, no, I'd like to thank everyone. I'm afraid, obviously, I can't read the chat. I couldn't read the chat in the last sort of 10 minutes of the show for coming in and plugging the iPad in and that, so I wasn't able to say thanks to everyone. But, I hope everyone enjoyed what they heard tonight. And, it just goes to show it can be done. It's a hard way. I've had a stroke. I've only got the one hand. It can be done. I'm lucky that I've got an amazing cousin in my back pocket who plays guitar like he does. And I think mixing with good musicians raises you up. So for other people out there, don't be scared to think, oh, I think they're really good. There's a lot of collaborations going on in this community, and I think when you do that, it pulls you to a different kind of level. You want to put your best in for the person you're working with. So, that does it for me. My cousin's very, the way that he does stuff, all his guitar tracks are just a one-off guitar. He picks a guitar up, he lays it down, and that's it. It will never be repeated again. It's very... the way that he does his music, his key, everything is like it's a one-time deal. Like, you couldn't ask him to play the same thing twice. It just wouldn't happen. He doesn't sit there and record it and track it like a lot of people do, like using GarageBand and erase that bit. It's not right. If there's a buzz on the lead or there's something not quite right, like it used to drive me mad at first because I wanted a very clean sound, but now I've got used to working with, you've got to be spontaneous, if it's, I would send him tracks and he'd be like, yeah, not really feeling that. And I think, oh man, I've just spent 4 days working on that. And but if it isn't working, it isn't working. And when it doesn't work, don't worry about it, just move on to the next thing. I'm in the position where I can create a lot of stuff, and when the moment's right for my cousin, like he can turn on. I think I put track out for him earlier this year, Mudslide, you know what I mean? And he done it in 12 minutes, like the whole track, start to end, like everything, like 12 minutes. It was a 3-minute track. He laid one guitar down, laid another guitar over the top of it, put some drums down, and that was it. So, you know, he can work incredibly fast, and, you know, that's a good thing. I can work quickly, but he blows me out of the water because, you know, I obviously can't play the keys and, you know, move stuff around like I would like to. So he more than makes up for all of that for us.
Indeed. Thank you, Brad Example, Sion, and Dean Thomas for super chats as well. Really kind of you. Thank you so much. Speaking of Sion, you got to hang out with Sion last week.
It's really nice. Yeah, it's the first time to be able to meet someone that I speak to online, which was really nice. You know, like he's a super nice guy, super friendly. He's got a YouTube channel that does similar stuff to you, but in a different way. Always uses apps that I probably wouldn't use, but that's in a good way because it brings to light other apps that you can use for making music. And Sion's very on the go kind of making music, you know, like making stuff on his iPhone, on his iPad, going out and, you know, walking around and being able to sit down at a park bench or whatever and make some sounds, which a lot of us don't. We sit in the comfort of our home in our studio. So, yeah, it was really nice to meet up with him. Super nice guy.
Is there any truth to the rumor he stole that How to App cup of yours there?
No, I think he'll get his own.
Awesome. What else do I want to ask you? I want to ask you about... All right, so somebody asked here, I saw in the chat, what iPad you use? I do believe it's a 2020, yeah?
Yeah, so 2020 Pro iPad Pro 2020, it's the 256 version, which I found out not to be enough because the whole process of this album was like an unbelievable brain carnage. It was, there was a lot of, how can we say, frustrating moments trying to get this album together. You know, there was the whole project on LumaFusion alone was absolutely massive. Like, I didn't have room on the iPad. And I still have at this moment. I had to delete every app I own, more or less. I kept about 5 or 6 apps on there. Everything else got deleted off because I just needed the room. Because when you upload to YouTube, or you need the same amount of space free in your iPad as whatever you're uploading, because it has to write it into, I don't know, you know the technical term, to the RAM or whatever it is.
Cache, yeah, the RAM.
Yeah, into cache, and then from the cache it uploads it all. So I think the first attempt at this project, it was like 22 gigs. And
I thought it got up to 40.
Yeah, it did. It got up to 44 gigs.
Oh, God.
And so that was 44 gigs in 4K.
Yeah.
And like I had to keep going in and reducing the quality, and like I tried plugging it into a hard wire, like so it weren't going over Wi-Fi. And I spent probably 4 nights like sitting there for like 5 hours at a time, watching it upload, watching the clock go round as it uploaded, get to about 11 o'clock and go, yeah, sorry, there's no room on your iPad to do this. And that happened to me like 4 or 5 times. And I had to keep going in, raising more stuff. You helped me moving stuff over onto my hard drive. I raised all my music, all my audio share, all my apps. And like, finally, one night, I went to bed and I just said, I'll just try it again. And it had uploaded, and I was like, I can't believe it. It's a miracle.
I know. I was there with you for a lot of that stuff. Oh, man. So
it was real, like it was a big project. And, you know, the way that I had to get around it was like do each video clip, obviously, and then save each video clip to my photos. And then obviously that takes up more room because you're saving it to the thing. And I didn't want to raise it off my iPad in case it hadn't saved it properly, or I needed to make an alteration to it. So it caused me a right nightmare. It was very difficult to do. So, you know, that's why the last probably 2 weeks of this whole 6 months was the hardest, because it was the most frustrating. Like the I don't know, just the constant trying to get it to upload and it just rejecting it was really difficult. So that was really frustrating. And like, I think I was in the middle of all my iPad being full up and then Brad, God bless his soul, he was like, oh, you couldn't do me a video.
That's so Brad.
So, like, in the middle of all the chaos, I'd actually cleared enough room off my iPad that I could actually, like, I'd made enough room to do the video for him. So that was cool. So I've done the video, sent the video to Brad, and it, you know, it gave me a break from doing it. And I've been broken from doing music for, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks, which is so unusual. And then in the last, since I uploaded this, which was, I don't know, a week and a half ago or something, you know, I've been working on about 4 or 5 different tracks. Just, it's all piling out of me again. So,
Jesus,
you know,
how do you do it, man? And for those of you who now you know, when I did the shows, last week? Was it last week? Yeah. When I did the shows on clearing your memory and using the Files app and stuff, all that came from me and Russ sitting there trying to work out how to clear his iPad and trying all these different things. And that got me thinking, I got to do some shows on this, because we both learnt heaps, didn't we? Sitting there doing that and using the Files app.
Like, we tried everything. Ivan come in and he was trying stuff with me, because I would like the weirdest thing was I cleared so much off my iPad, and like it was saying, you still only got 22 gig left. And I was thinking, how can I have 22 gig left? I've just got rid of so much stuff. How can this be happening? So that was really frustrating. The memory of the iPad wasn't recognizing that I'd erased stuff. You know, I was erasing photos, all the videos that I'd done. I'd saved them to the iCloud and then just erased them because I thought, well, they're taking up space. Got rid of them, and it was still like, no, that's no good. So that was a pain in itself, because I was having to drag stuff back from the iCloud, put into LumaFusion, not kill the original LumaFusion project at the same time, just in case, you know, it didn't work out. So I got to the point where I was actually going to do this, what I've done that you've seen tonight, in 2 halves, because I just couldn't think of another way to get the room in the iPad and do it. It was such a task.
Yeah, I'm so glad we got there, because I didn't want it to be in 2 parts. I wanted it to all be in one complete part, because it just, Yeah, it would have broken people out of it. So, I mean, I was lucky. I only got to watch it, the day before. So, and, you weren't even going to send it to me to watch it before.
No, I didn't want to send it to you to the last minute because I know what you like.
Yeah, and we had some funny stuff around that happen too. But, so look, folks, so all of this, all the music, all the video, everything was completely done on an iPad. That is the takeaway from all of this. If ever you come across somebody who says an iPad is just a toy, not for making music, send them to this to watch this amazing video and this album. And it should silence anybody because it is just incredible. I was blown away by the amount of intricacy in the video. I mean, it was... I mean, I've seen it 3 times now. I watched it.
I was going to say, it took about 4 hours to get it right when that astronaut walked across the flag and walked back to get it not to... But that was painstaking. I sat there for like 4 hours just doing like a 5-second clip. That's the sort of level of intensity it gets to. It's like, to make it right, to get it right, it's got to be right, and just it still bugs me now. You can still see the American flag behind it a little bit when it walks. I spent so long doing it. I was like, this good enough, just things like that. I tried overlaying the video on top of the other one, and then it was going all white because you overlay. For some reason, when you overlay another video, it brings the colour out from the other video, so it didn't look right in that scene. So when that scene come on, it would go white, and I couldn't have that. So it was just sit there and just drawing in millisecond by millisecond of that flag as the astronaut's walking. So
keyframes, Russ, keyframes.
Yeah, but keyframes even when I keyframed it, the to get the flow of the astronaut, it just wasn't.
Yeah.
You could do it in little sections, but the fine detail of just when his arm sticks out and to have to draw it all in to make sure when he lifts his arm up you can still see the flag through his arm.
Yeah, it's painful.
That stuff that you probably wouldn't even notice when you watch it, but when you're sitting there making it, when you make music, you're hearing every intricacy of what you're doing. So it's just I think we've said it before, it's the Virgo in me that it has to be right. Right is right. It can't be. It's when it comes to stuff certain things, I can let go. I don't worry about. But when it comes down,
certain things. Anyway. Yeah. Heaps of things. But not music, man.
Comes down,
not music. Not video.
For me as an individual, so I would say, when I run doing my Russ 88, 89 stuff, I run on 70% gas. And when I do the Delicate Giant stuff, it's 120%, it's got to be, because I'm a tight bugger, if I was going out to buy an album, it's got to be right. It's got to be, I've got to like every track. It's got to flow. It's got to have everything that I want to buy it. So it's important to me to make it like that for other people. So it's important that it sounds right, that, all the things work right. The sounds are different but similar, where it finishes, like on a certain chord, it doesn't suddenly jump into a weird chord to start the next track. There's a lot of I think Dream Theater do that. I'm sure it's Dream Theater that if they start a track on an E and finish on an F, the next track starts on an F.
Yeah.
So there's continuity between the tracks, and it's little things like that. I mean, when I see on here, I was telling them about tuning the drums to the key that you're playing in, because that's something that you wouldn't really think to do. You know, it's like you play a drum and you're just playing the drum, you know, you're playing the drum machine. But when you actually tune the drum to the actual key of what you're working in, it suddenly makes not a amazing moment, but like it does make a difference when you're mixing. When like if you know, you can more or less put a guitar tuner or whatever on your kick drum, for example, and tune the drum to an A or an F or whatever you're playing in the key, and then once you know you've had to turn it up to 446 or whatever, you just adjust all your other drums to the same, and then everything is now in that key. So it's just little nuances of doing that sort of stuff that in the big picture it makes it sound more together, I suppose, you know. So it's just little tips and tricks that I've picked up over the years and experience that I've got, you know. So that's something a lot of people, and again, in my Russ 88, 89 stuff, do I tune all the drums? Probably not, you know. But in the Delicate Giant stuff, when I do stuff, yes, it does get tuned, you know.
Yeah, well, it definitely shows. I mean, I think one of the things that I love about Delicate Giants is the amount of amazing layering that goes on. There's so much depth and breadth and width, and there's just so much to find within. Each time you listen to the songs, there's so much more you'll find. I want to give a shout out to our amazing group, the Virgo Club, which is you, me, Brad, Dave. Is that all of us? We're the Virgo Club, aren't we? Yeah, we are the Virgo Club. We sit on Clubhouse every day, the Virgos, up late hours, supporting each other with our music, with this show, you know. So without you guys, I wouldn't be in such a good place right now. Because I'll tell you, I'm still dealing with COVID pretty full on today. I was getting the hot sweats all the way through your album today. And I was like, no, not now. Yeah, so maybe it's just the music that was doing it. I was getting excited in my pants and getting all hot and flustered. But I want to ask about this because I don't want to forget about it. So we're going to do a giveaway, aren't we, Russ?
Yeah.
Now,
I've got.
Yeah. What is it? How are we doing it on YouTube and Patreon?
Yeah. So I've got 2 T-shirts and 2 mugs. So like I'm giving a mug away with the T-shirts, and the reason for that is because I can't really do the postage to lots of different things, and then on Patreon I'll give 2 mugs away. So the T-shirts that I've got are the Moonworks T-shirts. There's only you, Thomas, Ron, Pete, my cousin, myself and my wife who've got one, so I don't do merch or anything like that. So if you want one, that's what you're going to get. And I've got a large and I've got a extra large, a 1XL and a large. That's all I've got. So if you write in the description, you'll need to say XL or L. I'm sorry that I can't do colours and different things. It is what it is. That's going to be, you'll get a mug and a T-shirt, and then on the Patreon on the weekend, the patrons will have a chance again to win a mug.
Yeah, so what we'll get you to do, guys, anyone who's here or watching on the replay, now you've got until, it will be until Monday in US time. Monday, and that's when I will be announcing it all, because so all you need to do is on this video just leave a comment on the video and let us know if you want an X or an L, XL or an L in your comment. try and leave a comment, say what you think of the album as well, and just put at the end of it L or XL, so we know that's how you're interested in wanting to be involved. How we're going to draw it will be on the Patreon this weekend. So we will spin the wheel on the Patreon. We'll take all the people's comments, spin the wheel. So it will be in front of all the Patreons. So it's all above board, and we've got witnesses to see how it all gets drawn. And then I will announce the winners on Monday US show. And I'll put a comment on this video to let people know who have won. And then for Patreons, I'll put up today a separate competition for Patreons. We've got a couple of mugs to give away. We'll spin those on the wheel as well. So, guys, gals, and all NBs in between, make sure you leave a comment for Russ's amazing merch. The cup, here it is there, the mug, and the t-shirt which I'm wearing. So, but just remember, you got to do it in the comments of the video, not in the chat. Alrighty, so let's talk about the release of this album. Right, so apparently you're going to drop it today because...
well, if I remember that, yeah, now after
if I remember,
I'll hit the publish button on DistroKid.
Well, on Bandcamp. On Bandcamp.
Oh, yeah, on Bandcamp. It's loaded onto DistroKid.
It sure is.
That's going to come out on Wednesday, I think that is, on there. So, yeah, just to give it a little bit of time. You know, I think there's on Bandcamp there's going to be 13 tracks plus some extra tracks plus some bonus tracks on there. I think there's 18 tracks in all. So, and I've priced it at £7 UK, so it's not that expensive, and you can pay more if you want to. That's going to be the price of the album. And then, like I say, depending on the comments and like if people hound on about the other tracks that aren't on the album that they've heard tonight that they enjoyed, then like I say, I'll think about putting an EP together just to sister up the album. So that will be coming in, you know, if that happens, that will be in, you know, maybe a couple of weeks to a month's time. And the actual release, I'll try and remember to put it on after this show finishes. I was going to do it in between, but I didn't have time, so I'll do it after then. I've only got to publish it.
You won't forget. We'll remind you on Clubhouse. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'll be uploading it on there, so that, you know, you'll have it tomorrow, Good Friday. So
it's Good Friday here right now, man. So happy Easter from Australia. Whatever, because it's actually Good Friday here in Australia. But yeah, so it's going to be $7.99 on Bandcamp, and you know we're trying to encourage people to go buy it because it's awesome. Yeah. So and you're going to get. Did you say you're going to get extra songs with the Bandcamp version?
Yeah, there's 18 tracks on the Bandcamp.
Awesome. So you're getting a whole lot more, and you're getting it cheaper than on iTunes, because I think on iTunes it's going to be $9.99.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
so, I mean, to be honest, like with a lot of albums these days, with myself, you know, if you're on Spotify or whatever, you're paying for a streaming service, so you're just playing the tracks. You get it for nothing really, because it's in your full year subscription. So, you know, like the whole point of tonight was to give exclusive tracks just for this show. You know, that was the whole point of the night. So, you know, how long that runs for, and, you know, and that's why I haven't released singles coming up to this album, which is unusual to not release singles, because I didn't want to release a track and take it out of context of the album. You know, the tracks sort of tell a journey, and to have a track random, yeah, sure, it was stand up as a good track on its own, but like it wasn't the way I wanted it to be heard first. You know, now it's done and dusted, yeah, maybe I'll release a couple of tracks from the album on my YouTube channel, but like that wasn't my big plan to do that. And I still haven't got a plan. If I release the actual album on my YouTube channel, it will be a shortened version of this. It would just be the album tracks. It won't be what you've seen tonight. That's the only place you're going to be able to get this.
So the only place you're going to be able to see this is on this thing that we're doing now. Is that right?
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm really stoked about that. So thank you so much for that. I'll just show you again. So here it is on DistroKid. It's actually all been uploaded. It's ready to go. Look, it's all got the good. Everything says it's good to go. So it is being released on all the streaming services on the 20th of April. So that's all good. We're ready to go with that. So that's cool. Let's bring it back to this camera. What else do I need to cover before we get the hell out of here? Is there anything?
Just my wonderful T-shirt, I suppose.
What does it say? I can't see it. Step out the panels. God. You're always entertaining, Russ. I mean, I did notice when you first came on, you actually had a Beatles T-shirt on, and now you changed into a Stamp Out the Beatles T-shirt. I mean, you know what, folks? The reality is, Russ loves the Beatles. If you didn't know, secretly he loves the Beatles. Look, see, I told you. It's all a ruse, man. It's all a ruse. You've all been played like fools, I tell you. I love it. It's been the longest running gag forever.
Oh, yeah, I have to think of a new one now.
I know. You have to find a new band to faux hate. Never trust Russ, man. He'll get you in the end.
I don't know how many months I've had that gag going for now. It's been a while.
Well, I want to say something too before we head off. Dude, I'm incredibly grateful for not only being a part of this album, but for your friendship. I mean, we're really close. You know, we talk every day, you know, for hours on end, along with we have a very cool little core group. We've got the Virgo Club, and we hang out every day on Clubhouse. I'm really stoked to have been a part of this and all the stuff to do with the Delicate Giants and your music. It really makes me extremely happy to play a small part, to be able to master this stuff, have my name on it. It's mind blowing. It's, you know, you're such an incredible artist.
I mean, you know, in the reality of it is, you know, we're in a fairly closed community on YouTube. You know, I've got to know you over the last 2 years, and, you know, I can't not say that if it wasn't for yourself, like, and, you know, Pete, in a way, like, you know, I wasn't making videos. I wasn't doing this all a year ago. Like last year, like if you flick back through my YouTube channel, you know, it'd have been in January last year was the first video I'd done. So to, you know, and that's the thing with me, like house and techno is what I done. I didn't do all this kind of music. So this is all new music, and like since my stroke and now I can't work, I'm at home, so I have time to not only do it, and you know, I still believe, you know, there was something that makes the other part of the brain tick that didn't tick before, that to be able to like to be able to produce as much stuff as I do and churn it out, you know, relatively comes easily to me. I've had the experience for 30 years in the music business, so, you know, although I stopped doing music for 10, 12 years, like I haven't lost the knack. It's like, you know, swimming, riding a bike, you know, like it's just now different because I do everything on an iPad, you know, and I've chosen to do that since 2012. Again, when my cousin Gary come to my house with an iPad, showed me a call app on the iPad, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. Like, I've got to go and buy myself an iPad. So from the iPad 2, I'm making music on the iPad 2 to, you know, making music now on the iPad. You know, I've stuck to it. You know, I don't go off and do stuff on computers, or I don't, you know, I've got a very, very limited setup. A lot of what I do is on my iPad laying in my bed. You know, like, you know, I come in here and I listen to stuff for sure. But do I sit here for hours working? No, it's just on me, like, pair of headphones on and do it. I do all my mixing on headphones. So everything you hear is 100% iPad mixed on the pair of Sennheiser, what are they, HD, I can't think of the name, same ones you've got, Jade. You know, so all the mixing's done on headphones. I don't go and check the mixes on different sets of speakers and do it like I'm familiar with how it should sound in my ear and how it's going to sound on a bigger sound system. And I would say 9 times out of 10, when I do put it on my big speakers or my monitors, I'm like, yeah, that's all right. You know, I can mix better on my headphones than I can on these monitors.
I can understand why you spend more time in the bed than in front of those curtains.
Now you're going to upset my wife because she picked it.
Oh, I knew you were going to. I knew somehow I was going to get smashed for that. Sorry, Liz. Slap him around the head next time you see him for me. I want to continue, dude. Your friendship to me is super important. You know, I know your mum, you know, I know Gary. Thanks, Gary, too. You left me an amazing message too yesterday. Liz, I've got to know as well when you were over there. We got to chat with Liz on Clubhouse every day. And we send all our love to Liz. We just want her to get so much better and come out of this on top. Dude, you're incredibly inspiring to me and many others. I just love what you do. I think it's one of the reasons I invest so much into you, because I do get so much out of knowing you. It really encourages me as well, and I'm as sure as many other people. I think the album's fantastic. I can't wait for it to come out. The
whole idea of it is, Jade, you know, I sit here with all this experience I've got, and you know, I just try and throw it back in the community. I don't like to be like a lot of people, you know, like, music is very personal and it's our passions. That's why we're here doing it in our communities. And sometimes I will say what people won't say, because if I don't like something, I'll say to you, like, a lot of people would just keep quiet or go, oh yeah, that's good. Like, I don't think, not that it's not fair to say that. I don't mean it to, oh, I'm better than you. It's nothing to do with that. It's just like sometimes people need a little rain check because it can run away with you. And if people are telling you everything's fantastic all the time, then, and it's not, I think that's wrong, you know? So,
yep.
You know, I don't like, you know, I laugh and I joke and I try and have fun with people, and, you know, I pick on people and I like, you know, pull at their apron strings. But at the end of the day, you know, it's not out of malice. It's to try and lift people. And, you know, that's all I can do. I'm stuck in the situation I'm stuck in. Like, there's no point me hating on everybody, you know what I mean? There's, you know, sure, there's a few charlatans out there, but at the end of the day, most of the people are good people in the communities, and, you know, I respect that. I respect, even if it's not music that I like, I can respect the way that it's made, it's produced, how it sounds. Like, if there's something positive to say, I don't say anything. Like, if there's something that I can pick up on, then I'll say something.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we've almost broken a record today with the length of this thing. So, I feel like hippie now. Right on, boom. Anyway,
yeah, I appreciate everyone for toughing out with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you all. There's so many of you. Let's call out some people here before we do go. Dave Fox, Barry Glenn, La Reality, Ron Ward is here. Right on, Ron Ward. Holy Ghost 66, Mr. Smith. Liz is here. SM Borthwick, Dr. Zorders. That was a bit late. The Falcrow, Scott is here. Ivan Idea, Brad Example. I mean, there's been so many people. Frigsy, Dragon Lady. I'm just scrolling through. Jerry Gomes, Mr. Smith. Who else do we have as I desperately... Black Covers. So Gary Hubbs was here. Joe Glenn, Barry Glenn, Dan Eckberg. Who else can I find in this lovely array of people? The Mix Club. Did I say Falcrow? Hippie was here. Patrick Chandler. Guzzo of Oz. Did I say Ivan Idea? I think I did. So many. If I haven't called your name, Gregory O'Sullivan, yeah, just send it. Type something in the chat right now so I can call you if I haven't already called you, because you deserve to have your names called. Hambo Hounslow, thank you all so much for being here and supporting Russ and supporting this channel.
Yeah, but from me and Gary as well, you know, we appreciate that you've appreciated us. So, you know, like we try and do good music for good people.
Absolutely. And thank you, Gary. You rock, man. You absolutely are a star. Your guitar playing is amazing, and you know, more people should head over. I'll make sure I do that. Hang on a minute. Oh man, this plague, it's killing me. Dean Thomas is there as well. The new member of the Delicate Giants, Dean Thomas. You heard it first here today. I will go back in the description and put in Gary's link to his YouTube channel as well, because you guys should go over and sub to Gary as well. So I'll try and remember to do that. All right. Now, the last thing I need to remind you all. The show takes a few hours to get processed and appear on YouTube. So in about 12 hours time, that is the place where you need to leave a comment. Once the show is up and you can leave comments, leave a comment, please, and state the size of t-shirt you would like to win, XL or L. Putting it in the comments here will not register you for it, so please wait for that. If you already have a link to the show from Facebook or the community page here on YouTube, my community page, you can actually click on the link once the show's over and leave a comment immediately, and we'll take all those comments, we'll put them on the wheel on the Patreon, and then we'll announce the winner. So make sure you do that. And Andy Dion, hello to you. Dragon Lady, thank you all for being here. Thanks, Russ, for creating an amazing album. Remember, it will drop on Bandcamp. The link is up the top here, and it is in the description. I'll update the link with the direct link to the album once Russ gets his shit together. The album will be the album will be available for streaming on the 20th of April. I will announce that on this week's show when I go live on How to App. So I'll remind you all that it's gone live. It's on April 20 in your time zone, midnight your time zone. Yeah. Alrighty. Anything else you'd like to say before we go, Russ?
No, just a big thank you to everyone, my cousin and my wife. I know she's going through a tough time at the moment, and thank her for allowing me to sit time with my headphones on when I was over there. So, you know, I'm always thinking about her. So, sending positive vibes to my wife.
Absolutely, 100%. Love you, Liz, Gary, Russ, and everybody in the chat. Thank you all for being here. And yeah, I'll see you, because I don't think I'll be doing an opening hour this week, because I'm trying to take a rest to recover my voice to get over this plague that I have. There will be a Patreon, and I will be back doing shows from Sunday your time, and we've got lots of cool apps to look at next week and all that jazz. So yeah, remember guys, Do the things that make you happy. Mistakes make you better, and we all rise together. And I'll see you on the next one. See you later. Goodbye now.